he wasn't nice all the time. He was quite direct a lot of the time, whether that be to the Pharisees or other people. He had to lead that way. He couldn't be someone that's just a walkover, but he did retreat when it was the right time to retreat, to recuperate, to rejuvenate, to assess what's going on, right? Now, let's now take that to marriage. As a man, these are the things we have to do, but we have to do this in love, in true leadership. We have to lead in love. We have to lead with understanding. We have to lead with wisdom. We have to lead with care. And on the woman's side of things, imagine if a man is trying to do that. And this is to answer a question that was asked earlier, but you don't want to listen. He's going to see that as you do not respect me. And a man who does not feel respected by his woman is a man who is not fulfilled. That's it. And you will see it, and it will probably irritate you. You'll probably get angry, but you need to double back and think, why has this been the dynamic? And don't get me wrong, as men, we're accountable for ourselves about what we allow. I was speaking to an older man on Monday, and he said where he's from, even if the woman's at fault for destroying a marriage, they will always blame the man because he's the leader. That's what we submit to. We submit to being the fall guy. In business, when something happens, the CEO or whoever may have not caused that, but because they're the top person, the buck stops with them. There are many pastors who will say, look, end of the day, Eve did what she did. But let's look at Adam. Adam, what's going on, bro? Did you not speak to Eve? And when she did what she did, why did you not intercede for her? Why did you just go to God and say, oh, look what she did? That's not what you should have done. So these are the things that we people do talk about it, but these are the things that we miss in the dynamic in terms of what are we supposed to do? Because what Eve should have done is go and ask Adam, my guy, my babes, my husband, this occurred. What should we do? That's what should have happened. But again, it goes back to a lot of women have not been in a position where they could actually trust a man in that way, and that's understandable. I'll even speak for myself. Because of the types of women that I chose in my life, I got to a point where I found it very hard to trust a woman emotionally because I too much erratic behavior, too much contradictions, and I don't want to hear the apologies afterwards when you've already destroyed the relationship. But I had to not allow that to make me bitter, resentful, scared, angry, because I knew I could not love any woman in the right way if I carried these things. And that's what I say to everyone, like everyone here. Even if you've been through what you've been through, if you want the best out of your relationship, the best out of your marriage, you need to make sure you go through that healing process so you can serve that person in the way that you need to. And the way that you need to is what we're reading in scripture. So thank you, David, actually, for mentioning those scriptures, because these scriptures are what's mentioned in all marriage ceremonies anyway. But are people really deep in it? Are we just saying it, or are really deep in what it actually means? What does a man leading actually means? What are the sacrifices? I even say this, right? I was with someone for, let's say, around 5 years. 3 years in, we was having a discussion. I say a discussion, it was a heated debate, right? And she was just talking about the things that she sacrificed. And as soon as I said, okay, I'm not going to take none of those things away from you, I actually agree, and I'm thankful. And then she wanted to end the conversation. I said, no, hold on a minute. Now let me speak. While I was speaking about what I sacrificed, she was looking at me as if I said something strange. Up to that point, it had never occurred to her that I had sacrificed anything because I'm a man. But to lead through all the things that we go through in relationships, marriage, children, trust me, there's going to be a lot of sacrifice that we're speaking about. So this is a call to everyone that stop this verses, stop this, because of what I've been through, stop that. It's not serving anything. Like, just understand who you need to be. And someone mentioned a lot of women are marrying men that they don't respect. I think any sensible marriage counselor will tell you, if you can't respect a man, don't marry him. If you can't imagine him leading you, if you can't imagine you calling him your leader, don't marry him. It's just going to be a recipe for disaster. Yeah, people can change, people can do all of that stuff, but the likelihood is, depending on what age you are, that's just how they're going to be. So don't settle, take a step back. And I say the same thing to guys. If you're with a woman who does not like to listen, who's always argumentative, always negative, always, you know, she will complain that you're trying to control her, but she's doing the exact same thing, walk away. Do not marry, because it's a recipe for disaster. That's one of the best advice I can give you. Because we don't need to go through it. Men or women, we don't need to go through it. Not just to have someone in our lives, not just to be married. We don't need to go through that, because it's problematic. Just sit back and wait. Wait for God to truly send you that person. But make sure you have discernment, because many people are going to come your way. So it's not just about wanting to be in something, but being with the right person. And I think that's another of people's issues. Having that wisdom to understand how they need to be, having that wisdom to understand how the person needs to be, and just waiting until things fall into place. No such thing as perfect. I don't even like even talking about it. But there's certain things that need to fall into place. But you need to address yourself first. Are you even what you want? Are you even that person that can be loved that way? Are you even that person that can be respected that way? That's where it starts, because a lot of anger is really not about the person. It's about us. Not really trying to forgive ourselves, not admitting that we need serious work, struggling to look at ourselves in the mirror and just be honest. That's where a lot of it starts. And, you know, and this is just years and years and years, same like coach, of speaking to people, seeing a lot of things, and just realizing there is a pattern that is at play, that we all fall into, a serious pattern at play. And sometimes it's the surface of a conversation that's not serving us, but getting into this nitty gritty, deep, and actually just accepting this actually is what it is. I'll go back to, this is how we're going to serve each other. This is how we're going to serve our relationships, serve our marriages. At the end of the day, when we die, we want to be able to say to God, I did my best.
Absolutely. That's it. Yeah, bro, spitting. I mean, I would say that, as well, I think this is, and that's why I went back to the original point of accountability for each individual person, right? So it's tough to say it, but everybody needs to be accountable, both men and women, right? So if it's not, if there's a pattern of women you keep meeting, then you have to assess yourself.
Yeah.
Why do I keep meeting these women? If you're a woman that keeps meeting a certain type of man, you have to assess, why do I keep meeting this man? You cannot let your assessment always go out on the external, because you are the common denominator in all the positions. So a lot of times what's happening is in these relationships is people are exhibiting their trauma in the relationship. So even before you even get into a relationship, we are choosing men who represent our father, who we don't like. And then we're choosing women who represent our mothers, who you might not even like, right? There can be inverses of this. There can also be the case where someone's got daddy issues, and the way that he needs to exhibit emotional control or whatever on the woman comes from how he dealt with his dad. A woman can have issues with mama, and she can deal with certain ways and want to see things in her husband too. Whatever the case is, a lot of the times the issue isn't the other person, it's you. And what I mean by that is not that they don't have issues, but rather that marriage is a reflection of us trying to work out these issues, and that the person is a reflection of you. And for me as a man, I have to choose someone who I believe fits that